What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Cheap Seats podcast. I am Wire to Wire Gene, and for my girl Key, I'm gonna intro like this. It's the Gene, hanging with the Kyle to the E and the Jordan Big J double JLOUIS. How y'all feeling tonight? I'm just having fun tonight. I got the Prince of Production, Kyle Edwards, with me in the upper left corner. I got him laughing already. Anytime I can put a smile on that man's face, it's a good show. And in the upper right corner, he's already adjusting his camera. It's almost like you could have did this pre-show or something. I don't know. It's Jordan Big J from the JJL Experience. I changed the name of his show. It just sounds better when it's the JJL Experience. But what's popping, gentlemen? How y'all feeling?
Good. Can't complain.
You can go first, Kyle. You can go first.
I'm ready for an exciting show because a couple of these topics I do want to talk about, but also
yes, sir.
Draft this week, so I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
We have our draft show Thursday night. I can't wait for that live show Thursday night. Will be the entire network is welcome to join. It'll be a great time. What's up, Big J? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great, man. Came back from a cruise, went to the Bahamas, DR, and Grand Turk. I'm feeling nice, man. I got a tan. I'm almost as dark as the Kyle, man. that nice shade of darkness, man. That melatonin, man. But I'm feeling good, man. I got my graduation coming up to May 23rd. I got my grad party the 27th, like the day before Memorial Day. So I'm getting ready, getting prepared. But the biggest thing is graduation. That's the most important thing. So I'm blessed to make it to graduation, man. So let's get going, man. Let's get it going.
Congratulations, my guy. Where in DR did you go?
How familiar with the names? Puerto Plata.
Oh, okay. Plaza. Did you do Dunn's River Falls?
No, me and my cousin. So it was a family trip. So my brother and his girl did an excursion, and then my little cousins and them they went to the beach, and then me and my cousin went out in town and explored the town.
Bro, if you ever are you in DR? I was thinking about Jamaica.
So about Carnival is I wish you could stay for longer. So Bahamas, it was only from 7:30 to 3:30, and then you had to get on the boat and then out to sea. And then we were only out in DR for 7:30 to 3:30, so we didn't have to get time to explore. So it was one excursion is enough. So I wish we could be out there longer. It was nice. The weather was hot. It was blazing out there, but it was fun.
Glad you had a good time. We got some good topics tonight, and we got to listen. Juan, I would love to get into that, man. We are going. We'll talk about that at the end. We'll add that about Zach Wilson making Rodgers life hell in New York. It's funny, but there's recent. Listen, I looked at the questions tonight. I knew exactly where we needed to start. There's a recent event that happened that I feel very strongly about. And I'm sure Jordan and Freddie will be on the opposite end of where I'm at. But I want to talk about it. And it's the Desmond Bane, I guess, you can throw the image up. The Desmond Bane tap to the groin to LeBron.
Oh, you mean Dylan Brooks?
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, sorry. Tap to the groin. It's the Draymond Green being suspended. Joel Embiid, James Harden. There's a lot of different things that have been going on in the NBA. As you see, there's different photos everywhere. So I guess we'll address it one by one. You know what? Here's my question first, right? Out of all the incidents that happened, the Draymond stepping on Sabonis, the Dylan Brooks ball tap, the James Harden ball tap, and the Joel Embiid kick. Out of those four things, what did you think was the most extreme of the four? In your opinion.
I actually thought about this. I thought the Embiid kick was kind of the worst. Only because, looking at Dylan Brooks, I could say that's a basketball play, just unfortunate. Yep. Draymond Green, I could say, Sabonis held his leg. Maybe Draymond Green overreacted to that, but I could say, Harden, he was trying to create space. He hit the guy there. But Embiid being on his back, Claxton, of course, trying to step over him, and then him purposely kicking him, I feel like was the worst out of the four.
That's really interesting, though, Kyle. Jordan, what are your thoughts? Because I have a strong point on this, and Kyle's leading right into it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Kyle,
me up, man. It's the left hook coming.
Yeah, Kyle kind of set it up too because I thought that the most extreme one was Embiid, and then after that, Claxton got ejected, which is for a flagrant or is I guess technical or flagrant one or whatever.
No, he got ejected for a second technical.
Or second technical. So I mean, I think that so the Draymond Green one, where he stepped on his chest. I mean, last minute I didn't even know that until I saw a replay that he held onto his leg. But still, Draymond Green should know his surroundings. It was still he was like Sabonis was holding his chest like he was trying to like couldn't get up. So I mean, both plays could have been kind of dangerous.
You're between the Embiid one and the Draymond one.
Yeah, the Dylan Brooks one, at first glance, live action play, I thought it was a non-basketball play. But as the play was slowed down, I realized he was going for the ball. He wasn't going for it wasn't like Draymond Green back in 2017, essentially kicking his groin. That was probably the bad one. But I mean, I still don't like Dylan Brooks. But I mean, yeah, that was a basketball play. I mean, he was reaching for the ball, wasn't going for the groin.
So would you say the Dylan Brooks one might have been? I think the James Harden one.
I mean, we're all men, you know.
Which one do you think the softest of the four would be?
The softest was probably
the Harden one.
Probably the Harden one. I mean, I didn't see that live. I didn't really see the full play.
What about you, Kyle? What do you think the softest one was?
Yeah, I'd probably say the Harden one because he's basically just doing like a little jab step to create space, and
but see, tapped him. Gentlemen, I completely agree. I think Joel Embiid had the most egregious of the four penalties. But do you know what the difference between Joel Embiid and the other three were? Joel didn't get ejected. Joel didn't get a flagrant two.
Because I don't think he has history of that. I don't think he has history.
No. This is the playoffs. Jordan, this is the playoffs. Joel Embiid is the best player on the 76ers. He's a draw. He's this year's MVP. So he got away with kicking someone in the nuts intentionally with Nick Claxton when Nick Claxton stood over him.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks was trying to tap the ball out. Yes, it should have been a flagrant one. In 90s and 2000s, it's a common foul. It's not even a technical. Today's NBA, if you want to give them a flagrant one, fine.
Yeah.
But it's not a flagrant two and an ejection from a playoff game. Are we out of our mind? Is this really what we've come to?
I think
Joel Embiid kicked a player intentionally and was not thrown out of the game. Dylan Brooks was thrown out of a game in which Memphis was coming back. He was thrown out of the game. Draymond Green was suspended for a game. Not only was he thrown out of the game, he was suspended an extra game when Domantas Sabonis was holding his foot. Now, what Draymond did should have been a flagrant two, should have been an ejection, and no one would have argued, and he should have played the next game. Now, I'm glad it didn't hurt the Warriors because they won both games at home and Draymond's back. But we're talking about playoff basketball. You watched the games yesterday. When you watched the games that happened yesterday, they were officiated differently. The Boston-Atlanta game, they were letting them play. The Golden State-Sacramento game, they were letting them play. But then you watch Minnesota versus Denver, it's ticky-tack fouls. Cat fouled out on a post-up. He got called for a foul against Jokic on a reach that was very suspect. It was a reach in game 64 of the NBA season. Not a reach in the playoffs in an elimination game that could send your team home. The referees in the playoffs have been very suspect at best. And if we're being honest, I think the Dylan Brooks ejection hurt the most of the four. The Sixers still won the game that Harden. And I think that the Brooklyn Nets might have won the game if Embiid gets thrown out.
Like Kyle said, like in the chat, like he said that I think Dylan Brooks got ejected was probably stemming from the Harden ejection. And even though Harden was a little different, Dylan Brooks kind of he wasn't going for the groin, but he's going for the ball. But maybe that kind of stemmed from that kind of. But I think they're ranked from strongest to weakest. I think Embiid was number 1.
Draymond too.
Draymond number 2.
Correct.
And the weakest was probably, I'd say,
it was probably Harden and then Brooks.
Harden, yeah.
Harden's didn't even look like it was like. I honestly thought Harden was mad that the foul wasn't called on the Nets, and then he got ejected from the game. You can't do that. You can't do that in playoff basketball.
Maybe a technical, but not a flagrant.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I think today's NBA, and we talk about it often, it's become super soft. It has become very evident that today's NBA is just.
But now, players like Draymond Green and Patrick Beverley, Dylan Brooks, the players that walk the line, they get a little leeway. I say that's kind of a fair point. Sometimes Draymond Green, he knows how to egg the refs on. Dylan Brooks knows how to egg the refs on, and he's complaining about him being a villain. I don't know.
I'll talk about that comment in a second.
Yeah,
I just want to finish this topic.
But yeah.
Because this is what we're looking at. You can take the images off the screen, Kyle, and we can kind of talk a little bit more.
I'm tired of seeing Draymond Green. That's
But if we're being honest with ourselves, the only one, maybe two, that deserved ejections was Joel Embiid's, which he didn't get ejected for. I'm a Sixers fan, guys. I'm telling you, he should have got ejected for that. And then maybe Draymond should have got ejected, but definitely not suspended. I could see them assessing double technicals, a technical on Sabonis, a technical on Draymond, and calling it a day. I don't think that would have been egregious.
Well, didn't he get suspended because he reached the limit of certain technicals or whatever?
Oh, so he got suspended for the stop.
Because of flagrant 2.
I thought he was reached that number of technicals or flagrants.
I think you need 8 in the postseason. It's only the first round. They reset when the.
They reset. Oh, all right.
He's already got 3 though.
It was definitely history though, with the league and Draymond. So
I get it. I understand history, but if we're being honest with ourselves, when the guy that's making the decisions played on the bad boys, I think that's a mistake, guys. It's a mistake.
I forgot Dumars was in charge of that until they were talking to him on ESPN, and I was like, he is really going to suspend him for that? I mean, it is wild to think where we've gotten, and I do think, because even like Jordan said, Draymond knows how to walk that line, but it's if officials want to take control of that, they throw a tech out there. Most guys will kind of walk it back a little bit because they know they get a second one, they're gone. But now we're seeing it's Draymond, yes, it looked awful live seeing him stomp on Sabonis, but it's because so much of the punishment went to him, it's almost like Sabonis grabbing his leg didn't even matter.
Correct.
Because yes, he got a technical, but it's that action created Draymond doing his.
Absolutely.
And that's why I agree with you, Gene. If you did double technicals, fine. I think everybody would be I get it. It was just that, Sabonis rolling around, holding his midsection, didn't look good. Same thing with Dylan Brooks.
The fact that he was a game time decision, everybody knew he was going to play. The fact that he was a game time decision with a bruised sternum, that led to the suspension. They played it even after the game. They were just we don't know if he's going to play. Come on. You knew he was going to play.
Yeah. But it's the same thing with Dylan Brooks, seeing LeBron laid out, rolling around, that does not help Dylan Brooks' case at all. The officials got to look at that and they're well, if we don't necessarily handle this now because of the history with these two teams, it could turn to something later. Because we saw it later in the game with, who was it? Hachimura got pushed in the back a little bit.
Yeah. And
then I think Roddy slapped the ball out of his hand and he almost turned that into something. And I was that's just playoff basketball.
Correct.
Roddy didn't want to let you get off a layup. The next thing you know, it's an and one. I had no problem with what he did in that situation either.
Agreed.
But Kyle, like when you said LeBron was laying down, I mean, maybe he was a little dramatic, but
they were 2 seconds away from doing a chalk outline on him. Like the whole team standing around him looking down, and it's like
like we're all men here, right? Like if you get hit in the groin, like that shit hurts.
I understand.
Like, we all, but let's stop pretending LeBron doesn't wear a cup. Can we stop pretending that? Like, can we stop pretending that these NBA basketball players don't wear cups?
They probably don't. I mean, they probably should.
There's not a chance they don't.
No.
Like, what are we talking about? Like, and let's stop pretending LeBron isn't known for this, faking injuries to get technical fouls and flagrants. Like, let's stop pretending that doesn't happen.
I don't think he was pretending because that probably hurt. Like, live.
That probably hurt. Okay.
Yeah. Bridges got hit.
Like that one play.
Bridges didn't do that. Harden's the one who hit Bridges.
Oh.
Bridges kind of, hunched over for a little bit, walked it off.
Yeah, because it kind of hurts the stomach a little bit. Like, oh, shoot, I got to.
Yeah, he didn't lay out and have everybody go quiet in the arena like, oh, what's wrong with LeBron? It's like, okay, he's just hurt for a little bit. Let him gather himself.
Bridges. Like, LeBron Bridges. Like,
yeah, but because it happened to LeBron, you throw out Dillon Brooks. But, like, I don't understand.
See, now, I at first I thought, okay, damn. Throw him out, but as I saw the replay, I was like, okay, he kind of went for the basketball because he did like a little behind the back.
I thought they were going to call it a common foul. I thought they were checking to see whether it was going to be a common foul or a flagrant one. Never in my mind did I think they would call a flagrant 2 on that.
Yeah,
that is what it is. I do want to add on to this topic though, because we only have 3 topics tonight, so we have a little bit more time. Jordan, you brought something up, and
the villain.
Yeah. So, Kyle, can you put that in context for me? What Dillon Brooks said?
I'm trying to remember what he said. Oh, where he's basically saying like
the media
has kind of made him out to be a villain, and he thinks that's the reason why he's being perceived a certain way.
I got something to say to Dillon Brooks.
I feel like, look, if you want to be a villain, then be the villain. You can't have it both ways where, you guys come out and act like you're the new bad boy Pistons, and then when people don't like you, then turn around and be like, you're the ones that did this to us. Embrace it. If you want to be jerks, be cocky and all that, then do it. Trust me, some fans will actually like you for it. But it's this wishy-washy way that you're doing it. It's like you're just going to have more people hate you than respect you. Bad boy Pistons, yeah, most of the league hated them.
Yep.
But a lot of fans respected them when they came in because they played tough, they played together, they had each other's back, and you knew what you were getting. Now it's like Memphis, because they're down in the series. Well, I mean, they have a chance to get back into it and all that, but now it's like they feel like they want to play victim because they told everybody we didn't have to worry about anything in the West, but now it looks like you could go out in the first round, and now they're trying to cover themselves with trying to push it off of the court into it's the media. You guys are trying to create something. I don't get it.
Bro, I got something to say to Dillon Brooks. I got something to say to him. I have sat back all year and watched Dillon Brooks' antics. Watched him all year. He's not good enough of a player to have the antics that he has, but I accepted it. I chalked it up to Lance Stevenson. I chalked it up to a player that wants to be irritating and agitate the other team's best player and talk smack. I chalked it up to I want rivalry basketball back again. So I've been somewhat of a fan of the Memphis Grizzlies because of the rivalries they created with the trash talk. I enjoy that. I had nothing to complain about with Dillon Brooks until he went in the media and portrayed himself as if the media and the fans are making him the villain. Let me just give you a couple examples. Dennis Rodman was the villain, and he lived up to it. Draymond Green was the villain, and he lived up to it. Ron Artest was the villain, and he lived up to it. Rasheed Wallace was the villain, and he lived up to it. I love those players. Give me a Draymond Green on every team in the NBA, a guy that just cares, that goes all out, that will do whatever it takes. You heard him on his podcast recently in the comments what he made. He's like, I don't care. Sit me on the bench. Whatever you need to do. Feelings get you sent home. I don't have feelings. I want to do whatever it takes to win. Dylan Brooks getting on that interview talking about they're making me into the villain. No, Dylan Brooks, you are making yourself into the villain. You're the one that called LeBron out and said he was old. You're the one that got in Klay Thompson's face earlier in the season. You're the one that was pushing Devin Booker and getting into it with CP3. You're the one that took the shot at Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs. It's you. And that's okay. People learn to like people like that. You might not like it in Jordan, but I like things like that. I like Knicks, Heat, 90s basketball. That's what I like. That's what I grew up on. Mm-hmm. I want John Starks to go to the lane and Alonzo Mourning to send him on his ass. Send him to the line. Listen, if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, you remember these words. Make him earn them. That's not today's NBA, man. Make him earn them at the line. He wants to come in the lane, you make him earn it. Mm-hmm. Jordan rules, what the bad boys did. The bad boys joking, they were very hated when they were around in the 80s, but if we look back at some of the most beloved teams now, teams that we look at, guys, do you know people hated the 85 Bears? Do you know why they hated the 85 Bears? Because they were dirty, man. They hit hard. But looking back at the best defenses in football, you always mention 85 Bears, the Super Bowl shuffle. Listen, heroes get remembered, but legends never die.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, shoot, if I say the thing about Dylan Brooks, I'll get fired off the network because Dylan Brooks is I don't like the man. I mean, he dresses weird. He does. He wears like some naked with a vest and jeans.
Yeah, he wears a big chain. Like, he's loud. He's loud.
He is loud. It's like actions speak louder than words. Yeah, he does. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm not even gonna say that because like he can score when he can, but it's not like I'm like, okay, if I'm the Celtics, I'm not worried about Dylan Brooks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
So,
but Dylan Brooks is trying to fall into a Marcus Smart type role.
Yeah, he's trying.
Marcus Smart is the perfect villain in the NBA.
Yeah,
because his team loves.
He does more. Yeah, he does more.
Correct.
Go for every ball.
That's the lane that Dylan Brooks is trying to enter.
And the way Dylan Brooks is like trying to, maybe some outlets like ESPN maybe try to paint a picture about Dylan Brooks, but that's on him.
Not painting the picture. It's not painting the picture. It's what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's all on him. You know what I'm saying? It's all on him. Like what he says. And I mean, Gene, like, I mean, I know you don't like, I mean, I guess you like, you know, with me and Freddie talking about the Lakers, but like, how do you feel about him talking about LeBron? Like, do you have a problem?
I feel like it's extremely disrespectful, and I love it. I wanted LeBron to come back at him in the media. And I know LeBron's not going to. I know he's not going to give him the time of day. I've watched this story before. Who was the guy that he called? I forget the guy's name.
Now people are
Soldier Boy. He goes, I'm like Jay-Z, and he's like Soldier Boy. He's the guy from the Wizards that he got into.
Yeah.
I forget who that was. But like but that comment, and then the Wizards had Soldier Boy at the stadium, like kind of like, I thought that's great basketball.
Yeah.
Is that not entertaining?
Yeah, it is. But I'm saying now.
Question, Jordan, do you want to beat Memphis more than you want to beat another team?
I mean, I want to get them out the way, yeah.
But you want to beat Memphis more than you want to beat like a Utah.
Yeah, of course.
Why?
Because I'm tired of Dylan Brooks. I'm tired.
Right? No, you said it right.
I'm tired of
WWE, bro.
He's doing promos.
He's a heel, and I'm okay with him being a heel.
But now people are saying, "Oh, LeBron's soft. Oh, Dylan Brooks wants to that to Jordan, Michael Jordan." Like, because
people are gonna call LeBron soft his entire career, and you know why, Jordan? Because LeBron is soft. Like, I'm not saying that he's not the second greatest player ever to play the game, but don't lie to yourself and act like the guy doesn't flop, fake injuries, lay on the ground like he's dead to get a higher flagrant foul. Like, that's a soft action. It might be smart, but it's soft. Is it not? If somebody did that in a rec league game that you were in, would you not think that was soft?
Like, get the fuck up.
Right?
I mean, like,
Get up. You said it.
I mean, I said it. That's what I'd say. I mean, get the hell up, Gene. Like, get the hell up.
and that's the point, Jordan. That's the point that I'm making. Yeah. It's like, listen, you don't have to like LeBron James. You don't have to hate LeBron James. But he's a great character because people love him and hate him. When you're talking about lettuce, and when I call lettuce, it doesn't really have a taste. You don't love it. You don't hate it. You could put it on the sandwich. You could do without it. Yeah. It's lettuce. I don't want it. I don't want lettuce.
You want that pepper and
give me the
dressing on it. Give me that bacon bits on there too.
But that's the truth, though, right? Yeah. We want to hate. Bro, do you know what team I want to beat more than any team in the NBA? It would be like an NBA Finals if we beat the Celtics as a Sixers fan. I hate the Celtics. They always beat us. They're better than us. And Marcus Smart talks a bunch of shit about doing it. And it drives me nuts. In football, you want to beat the Cowboys, man. They're always in the media. Yeah. You want to beat them, right? It's just the way I feel, man. I love rivalries.
I do too.
But see, that's what makes this Memphis team so much fun. But we can't spend the whole night talking on it. We're 28 minutes in.
I guess the question is like when Ja was like suspended and stuff, and Dylan Brooks and Desmond Bain, like the only problem with Memphis is like they don't have really a seasoned veteran to like, you know, be like, hey, this is wrong, this is right. Like, who's in Dylan Brooks' ear? Like, maybe he's just in his own world. Like we all say, hell, who's in Ja's corner? Who's in Dylan Brooks' corner? Because Desmond Bain is the one level-headed.
Steven Adams has been
hurt. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. We got to move on. We got to move on. We spent 28 minutes on this. No, you're good. You're good. Let's stay in the NBA, though, Kyle. Kyle, let's stay in the NBA. Bring up the graphic. This is a fun one. This is a rank them. You can start 2, cut 1, bench 1 if you want. But I love this graphic.
This is the one for me, right?
Yes, this is. This Rajon Rondo.
Oh, wait. Was he in there? Was Williams in there?
Well, we used a 4 instead of a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Rajon Rondo, Ron Williams, Starberry, and Mr. Big Shot. You could start 2, bench 1, and cut 1. And then I want you to rank them. I know who I'm starting 100%. It's the option would be who's starting next to him. I'll start with my one that has to start no matter what. It's 100%, no doubt about it. It's the easiest one on the list.
I think I know because I might pick it too. So
it's Chauncey Billups.
Yep.
I want Mr. Big Shot. He's a leader. He knows the game of basketball. He's a true point guard. I love everything about Chauncey Billups. He has to be my start. Now I'll pause and I'll let you guys go around the room. Kyle, give me the player that you're going to cut. Give me the guy you're going to get rid of off your list. And then Jordan, I want your bench player. And then we'll go around.
Okay.
The guy I might cut out of this group, I might cut Darren Williams.
Okay. That's interesting. And this is all in their prime, right? This is all prime. Dude, Jerry Sloan, Deron Williams was he was a stud, bro.
He was, yeah.
Oh, you're cutting Deron Williams. That's fine. You're allowed to cut Deron Williams. That's fine. Jordan. Now, you got to know the player you're going to cut. You got to know the players you're going to start because I want the player. All I want you to give me
bench.
Who is going to be the bench, which would be your number 3.
Man, I'm probably bench. I'll probably do Stephon Marbury.
So you're benching Starberry.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Starberries, man? Let me give Stephon Marbury.
I'm sorry, Marbury. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I call it Starberry. That's fine. He had sneakers. They were called the Starberries.
Yeah.
And you know why I loved them? They were $20 or $29.90.
Right. Yeah.
He made sneakers so kids could buy his sneakers that weren't $150 Jordan.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
That was one of my
favorite. Is he Nike or was he Nike, Adidas? I don't know what he was.
He had his own brand.
Yeah, his own brand? Oh, okay.
Walmart, bro. They were Starberries, and he put a lot of money in them. Very small profit, just so he could sell his sneakers to kids that couldn't afford them.
Fun fact of the day.
Oh my god, bro! This is my error.
It's Stephon Marbury, because I remember playing like what's that game?
You have two starters that had a Starberry. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gave you my start. Let me give you my cut, and then I'll leave it. My cut would have to be Rajon Rondo. I'm cutting Rondo because out of the four of them, he's the worst shooter. Out of the four of them, he has the most issues with teammates. Out of the four of them, he gets the most technical fouls. Out of the four of them, he has the most altercations. And I don't know if I want that in my locker room. So I'm starting Chauncey, and I'm cutting Rajon Rondo. Kyle, give me who you're starting.
I'm starting Billups and Rondo. I mean, look, Rondo is a difficult player. You know, Doc Rivers had his issues with him. Ray Allen had his issues. But KG and Paul Pierce loved him.
Yep, they did.
KG's is about as intense of a guy there is. So you have to have a special team around Rondo, unless you're just going to give him the keys and tell him to work, because he can do that as well. I started those two because I feel like with Marbury, he would be like my gunner off the bench. You bring him in, you're getting instant offense from him. You know, Rondo and Billups in the backcourt, they'll play great defense. Rondo will conduct everything, and Billups could play off of Rondo. That's the reason why I went that way. But I get what you're saying with Rondo. If you don't have the right team around him, he could create little fractures in the locker room, which you'd have to be careful of. So, I mean, I understand your way of thinking, but I have Rondo starting as well.
So I can go about this one of two ways. I want to ask you guys a question, and I want you guys to tell me, am I starting them on the same team, or am I just starting them? Because first of all, I'm starting Billups, but my choice for who I'm going to start depends on if I have to start them on the same team, like who would play well off of each other, or if I'm just starting a franchise, first pick Billups, second pick so-and-so.
I kind of went about it with the same team, but
okay, that's fine. Yeah. Same team?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had picked Marbury from my bench.
So you have Marbury on your bench.
So
who is your starter?
I mean, I'm going with Rondo because Rondo and Billups. Because Rondo for me, I get Gene, like in the Kyle, you said like his attitude and stuff, but like he reminds me of like a mini Bron, like where he can pass it. As far as like assisting and making plays and creating plays, and that he'll give you like 10 assists real quick. And he can still put to a layup.
But see, here's my issue. Right?
He can shoot.
I don't think they play well off of each other. I'm going to give you my breakdown. So right now, let me just make sure I have this right. Kyle is cutting Deron Williams. He's starting Billups and Rondo, and Marbury's his sixth man coming off the bench. That instant offense.
Basically, me and Kyle the same thing.
And you have the same thing, Jordan, right?
Kyle, man, you want to be me all the time, bro.
That's fine. So let me break down where I'm at here. I'm starting Chauncey Billups with Starberry, Stephon Marbury, because he can play the two. And then when I need to give Chauncey Billups a rest, Deron Williams is going to come in the game and run the point. The reason if I had the second pick and it wasn't the same team, I would have started Deron Williams. But they both run the point in a way where they have to have the ball. Starberry can play off ball. Trust me, needs the ball, but he could play the two. He did it with Stevie Franchise. Like, he did it before, right? So I'll start Billups and Marbury. I will bench Deron Williams, and I'm cutting Rajon Rondo. And I do this because in a spread out shooters NBA. I need guys that can stretch the court. I need a leader in Billups. I need a guy that can shoot like Marbury and get to the hole and a scorer. And then Deron Williams is basically just and I don't want to say a poor man's. You know what I think the difference between Deron Williams and Chauncey Billups is? I think they're the same player. I just think Chauncey has that leadership quality that Deron Williams lacks. There's one thing I 100% remember about Deron Williams that bothered me, and it's the way he ran Jerry Sloan out of the NBA. I hated that. I didn't like it. And Deron Williams on the Nets was good, but he was never what he was when he played in Utah with Jerry Sloan's system. Yeah. So that's why he's coming off my bench. Rondo is flunked out of a lot of teams, man. Like his high might be higher than all of them. Like his peak, like his best performance. But like, I don't know if I can have the right team around him. If we go on a 3-game losing streak, how is Rondo going to handle that? Is he going to want to fist fight guys in the locker room? I just don't know. So I'm going Chauncey Billups as my starter, Starbury as my 2, and then Deron Williams will come off the bench to give them a little bit of a rest, and I'm cutting Rajon Rondo. I'll play against them.
Yeah, I mean, because Darian and I think Starbury threw me off because I think it was Rondo, Billups, and Parker in the group chat.
It was. Now, if it was Rondo, do you have the other one?
Yeah, I do.
Throw it up real quick.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
bench cut on that.
These are all 4 good players. I just kind of threw me off.
That's fine. This is the other one that we talked about. But see, guys, I'll start here.
I'm going.
I still start Billups. Mm-hmm. I still bench Parker, and I still cut Rondo.
Yeah. Well, I don't cut Rondo. So I have it Chauncey first. I'll start. I'll bench Rondo, and then I'll cut Parker.
How do you cut Tony Parker?
That is tough. Yeah. Tony Parker was just a winner, man.
But his attitude. I don't like his attitude.
You don't wait. You
don't like his attitude. Rondo's attitude's worse, but
you're cutting Tony Parker because you don't like Tony Parker's attitude, but you're keeping Rajon Rondo.
I mean, I'm just thinking purely play style, like not attitude. I mean,
like Tony Parker's attitude. What do you know about Tony Parker's attitude?
It's just like how he like treated Murray and stuff, and like out of San Fran, or like the Spurs. Are you talking about
like when he was at the end of his career and DeJounte Murray was coming in?
Kind of like
DeJounte Murray was a kid, bro. He's still showing you he needs to mature.
Well, yeah, and that what he did the other night, yeah.
Dude, during the summer league, he was trying to fight Paolo Banchero.
Yeah,
this guy is showing you time and time again that he's just not mature enough. So you're blaming Tony Parker for the DeJounte Murray situation?
Oh, I'm not blaming Tony Parker. I just didn't like how he didn't really put Murray under his wing.
Maybe a veteran should. You weren't in that locker room. Look, if I'm looking at DeJounte Murray and Tony Parker, if I'm looking at both those players and I'm saying which one was probably wrong in the situation, I'm going to say DeJounte Murray was probably wrong in the situation. Kyle, are you still keeping Rondo on your team?
I mean, it's tough for me to get rid of Rondo because even when he played, people said, "Oh, he can't shoot." He found ways to make it happen.
He did.
He really did. That's facts.
He seemed like he would make a jump shot in a key moment, and he was just really good at that. But then early in the game, he'd brick everything. You know, he would give you 12 rebounds from the point guard position.
Yeah, you're right.
He'd give you 15, 16 assists in his sleep. So,
even if he was on LA, I mean, he was still making threes somehow, like open threes, and they were leaving him open. So, but it's not like consistent.
He was like really good end of the shot clock, 3-point shooter for some reason. If you gave it to him, he couldn't think about it. He'd drain it. But early in the shot clock, if you gave it to him and you backed away from him, he'd brick it. I can never understand that with him, but that's how I played.
I want to ask you, who's the better shooter, Russell Westbrook or Rondo?
Russell Westbrook. By the way, I know that we're not talking about this much, But can we talk about how Russell Westbrook has had a resurgence on the Clippers?
Oh yeah, he really has.
Maybe Russ wasn't the problem on the Lakers.
I never blamed him in LA.
I mean, he was good on the second unit.
Yeah, because LeBron wasn't on the floor. Westbrook needs space to operate.
Yeah, he was. With Kawhi not playing and play point guard like he wants to.
Has he not looked like the Westbrook of old these last 2 games?
No, he's been hustling. Like he made that one play on Booker, right? When he saved the ball and bounced over Booker's knee. That was Westbrook, right?
Bro, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 37 the other night.
Damn, I didn't know that. Wow. Well, I know you don't that much. Yeah, he's doing good.
That's why the past couple of years in LA, I felt so bad for Westbrook because people talking about, oh, he's washed and all that. It's like he's not. You just have to put him on the right situation.
But we still really haven't seen him play with obviously we don't really have to see it, but him playing with the two of the stars.
He played with Kawhi and they won game 1.
And then Kawhi just got hurt, I guess, again.
Kawhi got hurt. Man, that is soft. Dude, he's replaced Anthony Davis. That's street clothes, man. Yeah. Kawhi Leonard is disappointing. 37 points. Oh my God, man. Just not happy with him.
Is he really hurt or is he resting up? I don't know.
Knee sprain. He missed games 3 and 4 at home.
He's compared to Ben Simmons.
I just think he has bad knees. That's it.
Yeah.
And once your knees start going, unfortunately, you don't normally turn the clock back on that.
I think Zaza missed his career with that Pachulia with that ankle, man.
I guess. I don't know, man.
That was bad.
At the end of the day, I look at what's happened in this year's NBA playoffs, and it's baffling to me that Kawhi Leonard wins game 1 at Phoenix, who's basically the title favorite. Them and Boston are the favorites to win the title. They win at Phoenix. The first loss Kevin Durant took in a Phoenix Suns uniform. Then they play a hard-nosed game 2. Phoenix wins with a couple clutch CP3 threes. And then he can't play game 3 or 4. Now they're down 3-1, and you know the series is over.
When did they announce the MVP?
Normally it's second round.
Okay, because I thought that they announced every award other than the MVP.
Yeah, they kind of spaced them out to give them each their time to shine.
So probably next round.
They'll probably do it game 1 of the Sixers Celtics series, just to or the day before. They'll do it right then. Just because it's going to be Joel. It's basically all but written. Okay, so you're starting Billups or you're starting Rondo, Kyle?
No, I'm starting Billups. I've always been a Billups guy.
All right, you're starting Billups. You're benching Rondo, and you're cutting Tony Parker.
Yes. Not for his attitude or anything.
4-time champion.
I know, but I just saw Rondo at his highest, and I was like, because you said it yourself, that's about him. Rondo's height with KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen. It was beautiful to watch. But then when it started fracturing, you saw when it was happening. Ray Allen would get frustrated on the court, and you knew Rondo was behind it somehow. And then we later learned that he and Ray Allen just butted heads a lot. So it got ugly quick. But yeah, I got it.
Rajon Rondo butted heads with a teammate.
Right.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's get into our next topic of the evening, over to the NFL. This is another fun one. I want to rank these 4 wide receivers. Now, I'm going to have a different rankings than both of you guys, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Jordan, do you want to do all 4 at once, or take turns?
No, I want you to rank them 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just in one thing, or we going on?
One thing, Jordan. You're starting.
Okay. I'm doing 1. Megatron.
I said number 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, 4, 3. I'm sorry, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going number 80. That's Harrison, right?
Marvin Harrison, Larry Fitzgerald.
So Marvin Harrison, number 4.
Johnson. Okay.
Terrell, number 3. Larry, number 2, and then Megatron, number 1.
Okay. You want to elaborate, or you want me just to pick apart?
So Marvin Harrison. I didn't like. I mean, I was too young to like watch him, but I know the highlights and stuff. Obviously he had the hands, but it's just like the team he was on.
PhD in route running.
Yeah, he was an excellent route runner. Then Terrell Owens had him at 3 because like his speed and his route running and his hands were, and he's kind of like that. Even though Mark Andrews is a tight end, he still kind of was up the middle, got the pass, caught the pass. So 3 I have, and then 2 I have Larry Fitzgerald because like he's like a D-Hop, man. He would grab every ball, man. He had like hands. He had like Anquan Bolden hands, like hands of steel, where he wouldn't drop a pass. Like, and then Megatron, like it's not arguable. Like his hands, his speed, his size. It's just like it's unmatchable. But yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. But I mean, I wish I knew more about Harrison before, so I can rank him higher. But I haven't met 4. So.
Marvin Harrison had a 12-year NFL career. Mm-hmm. He had played 190 games with 14,580 yards and 1,100 receptions. I want you to understand how ridiculous that is. 190 games with 1,100 receptions. I'm going to do quick math for you guys. Because I don't want to shit on Marvin Harrison because Harrison.
I'm definitely not trying to shit on him.
But hold on, I just want to say this out loud because I don't think you realize how absurd this is. 1,190 divided by 1,102 receptions divided by 190 games. He was averaging 6 receptions per game. Now, that might not seem like a lot to you, but I want to read you a couple of things because he played a little bit beyond his prime. So 15 games in 2008, his last year, he only had 60 receptions. In 5 games, he only had 20 receptions. And then in 16 games, he only had 95 receptions in 2006. Let me go through the peak of Marvin Harrison's career. Mm-hmm. 16 games, 143 receptions, 1,722 yards. I want to read that to you again. 16 games, 143 receptions, 1,722 yards. In 16 games, he had 115 receptions, 1,663 yards. He had 4 seasons with over 100 receptions. But I just don't want to.
That's crazy.
I don't want to take away from Marvin Harrison.
Oh no, like knowing that.
You have Harrison 4, Terrell Owens 3,
Larry 2, and then Megatron 1.
Okay, Kyle.
I'm not hating on Marvin after that, man.
No. But if anybody's listed 4, I'm gonna at least defend them.
Yeah.
Kyle, what's your list? 4, 3, 2.
Mine's a little different. I'm sure I might get some hate from my number 4. I've actually got Megatron number 4. I'll explain after why. I went Harrison 3, Fitzgerald 2, T.O. 1. So I went Megatron at 4, kind of because the longevity of his career kind of hurt him for me. As a talent, not going to take anything away from him, but looking at these other 3, I had to put him at 4. Marvin Harrison at 3. The only reason why a lot of people probably don't even know Marvin Harrison's numbers like that, he wasn't a character. He was very, look at this picture. That was Marvin Harrison. Yep. Very stoic. He went out there. He did his job. He was done. As a Patriots fan, Marvin Harrison was one of the toughest wide receivers to see my Patriots go up against because he always found a way to get open. He came with clutch catches late in games. He and Peyton Manning, that was a great connection. I went Fitzgerald too because he's just a pro's pro. Look, he was a leader on the field, great hands. He was also a great route runner like Harrison, and he just made plays. I kind of wish he, probably played for a better organization. We know the Cardinals and their issues and their owner. I feel like Fitzgerald definitely deserved better than that, but can't take away from the career that he had as well. I mean, T.O. at one, like, the man played the Super Bowl with a injury to his leg that most people thought he'd been gone for the season and some into the following year, and he was out there like nothing. Yeah, he had his antics off the field with the driveway lifting weights and all that. The man was a showman. You gotta give him that. If T.O. was on your TV, you knew he was going to do something to either anger you as a fan or the other team, like slamming the ball in the star, which was still one of the funniest moments I ever saw. But yeah, as a gamer, the speed, the hand. I mean, he dropped some passes now and again, but he always made tough catches. I mean, Garcia throw in the middle. He took the hit, him crying with the helmet off. Like, that's the T.O. people loved. So I had to go T.O. number one.
Okay, so this is tough, right?
It is, yes.
Marvin Harrison's number 4. He's number 4 by a little bit of a distance.
Okay.
The other 3 are 3 of the top 5 receivers in NFL history. In my book, along with Randy Moss and Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
I have Larry Fitzgerald number 3. His longevity is what my argument would be why he had more yards than Terrell Owens. But if you look at their seasons, side-by-side seasons, statistically, Calvin Johnson's best seasons dwarf anybody's here. The way I look at Larry Fitzgerald and Calvin Johnson between 3 and 2, because I have T.O. 1, and I'll get into why, is I look at, do you think Barry Sanders was a better running back than Emmitt Smith? Because that's the difference, in my opinion, between Calvin Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. Emmitt did it longer, had more total yards, had more total touchdowns, but Barry was just better. And I can't get that out of my head. Marvin Harrison had 4 seasons where he had over 100 receptions. Nobody else had more than 2. However, Calvin Johnson had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons over 1,000 yards out of his 9 seasons that he played. And 1 season he had 984. So he's dominant for his entire, including a season in which he had 122 receptions for 1,964 yards. That's nearly 2,000 yards out of the receiver position. Now, the argument against Calvin Johnson is he's the only player on this list that's not in the top 20 in yards. He only played 135 games. Comparatively speaking, T.O., who my number 1 is, played 219. Larry Fitzgerald played 264.
Yeah.
My number 1's T.O., and I'll tell you why. Terrell Owens had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons. That's the total amount of seasons Calvin Johnson played. Over 1,000 yards. He also had 8 of those seasons with over 10 touchdowns. He had 10, 13, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, and 16. Okay? He also did it longevity-wise. Terrell Owens could have had 10 seasons, or 2 more seasons over 1,000 yards, 11 seasons. He had 2 seasons where he had over 900 yards. That's not counted in his 1,000-yard receiver. Terrell Owens, in my opinion, is the second greatest receiver of all time, only behind Jerry Rice, which means I rank Randy Moss behind T.O. Terrell could do it all. He could catch the deep ball, and he'd go across the middle. He'd be the guy that catches the ball across the middle. He did it all. Marvin Harrison was a speedster, a great route runner. Larry Fitzgerald was a possession receiver. Great possession receiver, but not a big deep ball threat. Terrell Owens was a merger of those two receivers. He had the speed of Harrison and the possession reception of Larry Fitzgerald. The only thing that lowers T.O. on my list, if I ever could, would be he had a lot of issues with teammates. But that's not what we're arguing here. We're arguing greatness. If the question was who had the highest peak, we're just talking about Rondo being the highest peak of the guards. We could argue Calvin Johnson should win this. Calvin Johnson in his prime is the best receiver you will ever watch play football. Better than Jerry, better than Randy, better than T.O. He was unguardable. 6'4", ran like a deer, and could go up versus anyone. But at what point do I have to take the fact that he didn't play enough games against him?
I have a question for you, Gene.
Yes, sir.
Where would you put? Because like you said that T.O. and I do agree, he has like a hybrid of like the two receivers, Larry Fitzgerald and or actually all three of them actually. But like, where would you put Chad Ochocinco?
Not even close.
So you wouldn't, because he put up a string of 6 1,000-yard seasons.
6, okay. T.O. had 9.
Or 87 more receptions 5 times in that span. He ranks in top 50 all time in receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
Top 50?
Top 50, yeah.
Okay, that's not really a thing to me. Chad Ochocinco or Chad Johnson isn't even. Reggie Wayne's ahead of him. Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce.
That's the other one, Reggie Wayne. Yeah,
I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. He's not, in my opinion, Chad Johnson's 20. These guys are 2, 4, 5, and 7 on my lists.
Yeah. I think he's 39 on the list. 39 ranked.
Chad Johnson's not even in the category of these 4.
No.
If T.O. was a mute, like couldn't talk, he might have came close to catching Jerry Rice. If he was a mute. The season he had in Philadelphia with Donovan McNabb was unreal. If they would have just got along and played their career together, T.O. would be the greatest receiver ever to play the game. If you replicated that season multiple times with Donovan McNabb, he's the greatest receiver ever to play the game. He was lengthy. He was quick. He could beat you deep. He could beat you across the middle, and he could beat you telling you he's beating you.
Yeah.
T.O.'s my number 1 on this list. Calvin Johnson 2. Larry Fitzgerald is the consummate professional. He's my number 3. But Marvin Harrison, that's the reason I read his stats out, because I didn't want it to feel like I was crapping on Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
I wanted to give him his roses. But if we're being honest with ourselves, Marvin Harrison's he's 7 on my all-time list. Where do you have T.O. ranked on your all-time? Do you have him ahead of Randy Moss or behind him?
I know you said that, and that had me thinking. I probably would put, because I feel like T.O. could beat you in more areas of the field. With Randy Moss, look, we knew when the snap happened, he'd put that hand up and he'd blow by, cornerbacks. He threw it up there to him. He didn't necessarily like going over the middle at times. I kind of need my number 1 wide receiver to kind of do all of that. If I need you to go over the middle, make a tough catch, I can count on you to do that. T.O. also, you could throw a quick screen to T.O. and he could take it to the house for you. So he could do everything at each of the levels as a wide receiver. So I would probably have him ahead of Randy. Although I love Randy Moss, especially his Patriot years, but yeah, T.O. does more on the field than Randy Moss does.
So I looked up their stats. They're third and fourth all time in receiving yards. T.O. being third by 700 yards. They played the same amount of games. The difference was 5 games, 218 versus 213. The difference in yards was 15,932 to 15,292. Randy had Terrell had a little bit more yards, a little bit more receptions, and Randy had a couple more touchdowns. Randy's best season was better than T.O.'s best season. But they're very close.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that I think that people look at that Randy Moss season with Tom Brady and they just put him in another stratosphere. But do you want to hear something wild about every receiver on this list? Only one of them has won a Super Bowl.
Was it Harris? Because Peyton Manning.
Terrell Owens did not win the Super Bowl. Larry Fitzgerald didn't win a Super Bowl, and Calvin Johnson didn't win.
Didn't win one, so it had to be Harrison.
It was Marvin Harris. Please stop calling him Harris. His name is Marvin Harrison.
I said Harrison.
Yeah, finish this done because Harris.
I said I'm a little sick. I said Harrison.
Marvin Harrison is the only one of these 4 that won a Super Bowl. It's interesting, but all-time receiving leaders: Jerry Rice won. He played 19 seasons, had 23,000 yards. Second was Larry Fitzgerald, who played 16 seasons, 17,492 yards. T.O. and Moss both played 14 seasons, 15,934, 15,292. And then my number 6 on my list, the one I have in between Marvin Harrison and I told you I had Harrison 7, is Isaac Bruce, who had played 15 seasons, had 15,208 yards. Harrison only played 12, and then we had 700 less yards. So Harrison could make an argument over Isaac Bruce, but they're very good arguments. Steve Smith Sr. is number 8. Tim Brown is number 7. Tony Gonzalez is number 6.
I think he has a son, Harrison. I think it's Ohio State.
Yes, he's going to be the best first receiver taken off the board next year. He will be the best receiver out of next year's class. He was the best receiver in this year's class. He should have won the Biletnikoff. If you watched him versus Georgia versus first-round cornerback Keely Ringo, he abused him New Year's Eve.
Yep.
Abuse.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like all the other than Harrison, I feel like they all should have won one. I feel like, with their abilities, but
T.O. got there and lost with the Eagles.
Larry
Fitz got there and lost to the Steelers.
Yep.
Megatron didn't sniff the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the only one Marvin Harrison won was the one versus the Chicago Bears with Peyton Manning.
Bears, yep. But that was more with who was the kick returner?
Devin Hester.
Yep, that was a Super Bowl, right?
Bro, I will listen. This fun. You're talking my wheelhouse, Jordan.
I love it, man.
Devin Hester. But it's funny how we ranked. Cottrell is just started viewing the show. I'd be very interested to hear his list of these 4, where he ranks them 1, 2, 3, and 4. So hopefully he's listening enough to put that in the chat. Guys, we have about 10 minutes left in the show. If anybody in the chat would like to throw a question up, I would be happy to entertain it. That list is beautiful, man. I love that all-time receiving list. I get a lot of slack for having T.O. ahead of
we should do this more often, like the list and stuff. So different players. I'm down with
that. Yeah, we're gonna do different things every week. Jordan, come on, bro. You're not new to the show.
Well, you usually do this topics. They're not like debate.
You can bring anything you want to the table.
That's what the show's for.
Nah, yeah, I like the list, comparing the list. Like we should do like NBA, NFL.
100%.
Yeah.
We got playoff basketball tonight. Who are your winners?
Lakers and I think the Bucks play, right?
This is exactly why I give Lakers fans so much crap. Did you already just said? I'm gonna go with the Lakers, and I think the Bucks.
No, like the Lakers.
No
play
idea
and
about the
play,
rest
right?
of the NBA. The Lakers. Play.
It's only 2 games today.
Yeah, correct. And you didn't know the other one was Bucks Heat.
We have Bucks Heat.
Great series, 2-1.
Yeah.
Right now, Miami's winning 2-1 in the series. Giannis makes his return tonight. What?
I just got my mic. Who's the first game? Is it Bucks and Heat?
It's Bucks Heat. Yeah. Giannis makes his return to the court tonight. That's why Brett's not in the chat. He's watching his team play.
That's right.
I'd probably pick the Bucks to win, and
I think the Bucks.
I'm expecting more fireworks from Ja. I think Memphis gets it done tonight.
I think
Grizzlies by 20. LeBron doesn't play the last 5 minutes of the game.
No, I think it's gonna be. I think it's Lakers gonna win.
Of course you do. You pick the Lakers every game. In the
I don't think Ja. Maybe he can repeat what he did with one hand. I don't know. We'll see.
Bro, you were in the chat the other day saying Ja needs to sit down and rest. He needs to rest.
I mean, yeah, because what if he re-injures his hand? Like
a playoff. Let him injure his hand. Get the whole offseason.
Didn't he fall again? The same fall he did the last game?
Sorry, he needs to sit down. Of course he does. He's playing your Lakers. Such a fraud.
But yeah, I went on Lakers, and then Bucks are winning by 5, I think, right now. So.
I'm invested in this show, Jordan.
Same.
I'm just busting chops.
Take your phones down, man.
Kyle, you got the Bucks and
I got Bucks and Grizzlies tonight.
I got the Bucks and Grizzlies also. I think the
Grizzlies
will
win the series though. Lakers or Grizzlies?
I don't know. I thought the Grizzlies would win that series in 5, and it's definitely been different than what I've expected. The Lakers have played much better than I expected. The Memphis Grizzlies seem to be talking themselves into a hole. I think it'll go 7. And if it goes 7 and game 7's in Memphis, I think Memphis in 7.
I think Lakers are gonna win tonight and end it in Memphis.
Of course they will.
And I don't think there's a shot of that happening.
Have you ever predicted the Lakers to lose, Jordan? That's my point.
I'm talking about playoff wise or the season wise, regular season.
It's playoffs.
Anytime.
Ever.
Nah.
I get it, bro. You're a Lakers fan. All right, well that's it. That's what we got for Cheap Seats Podcast. Let's watch some NBA basketball tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Kyle, any final thoughts? Anything that you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just waiting to see. I really want to see the Lakers Grizzlies game because I think I had the Grizzlies in 7 to start the series.
Wait, Kyle, aren't you a Lakers fan now? I forgot about that.
I told you Freddie went way overboard with that one, but I just feel like we've seen in this series the Lakers played well in 1. They probably should have won 2.
Yeah,
they let the Grizzlies take 2. They bounced back and won 3. I could see Memphis coming out with a lot of energy tonight and taking it back to Memphis tied 2-2.
Okay. I love RJ. He comes in here to troll you.
What RJ say?
Sam Darnold,
Lamar Jackson.
Sam Darnold, Lamar. Oh my God. I mean, it's show about the end anyway. So.
Any final thoughts, Jordan?
No, I'm just it's a good show. I mean, this time next week.
Welcome back from your cruise, my friend.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Forgot he went on a cruise. Do you smoke a lot, bro?
I do, but not today.
Oh,
but no,
I'm shocked.
It was a good show. I had a good cruise. I hope you had a good cruise and good Pablo Escobar looking picture on from Mexico, looking like.
Oh, you like that photo?
All white.
It's not white.
looking like who's the rapper? Fat Joe.
God damn, bro! You gotta call me fat. What is this? Why I gotta get that? Looking like Fat Joe. You think that's a compliment, bro?
DJ Khaled. All right, there you go.
So he picked another fat hip-hop
another one.
At least this one's got a beard.
Right.
But no, it was a good show. This time next week next Monday we'll tell who went number one in the NFL draft. I know y'all got the draft show on Thursday.
That's exactly what I was going to finish out with. Tune in to the Sports Empire Network draft special. We will be live streaming the NFL
Kyle
draft.
said that Kyle has to do it streaming during my date, but that's how you not get a third date or whatever. So being on my phone that's rude.
During round one of the NFL draft.
Listen,
I'm going to tell you
something. Look at this
guy. I shouldn't be saying this on air. I almost did that also. But luckily, the person that I'm talking to is awesome, and she's amazing, and she's allowing me to take her on a date next Thursday instead of this Thursday. So I got an opportunity to get out of it, and I was thankful, and I thanked her, and she'll be very happy that she did that. So I wanted to thank you. If you're listening, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
but we're going to wrap it up. Let's get to watch some Bucks Heat. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Cheap Seats podcast. I'm Gene Walzak. That's the Prince of Production, Kyle Edwards. Jordan, Gene Lewis, Big J. Thank you for tuning in to Cheap Seats podcast. We are signing out.
Yep.